if you look at where the lines on the map have been and have been drawn and where they got pushed to, they did a whole lot last year to November. Yesterday, I was down in Mykolaiv and then I was in Odesa. So I was within 20 kilometers of where the line is now. All of that area and miles and miles and miles north of it were all held by Russians for a long time, and they've been pushed back.
Do you sense being there that do people feel that the eyes of the world have moved away from them? Is that a sense you've got as you've been there doing what you're doing?
I don't think there's any kind of sense that people are in competition with what's happening in Israel or Gaza, or that they feel that there's got to be a kind of Dutch auction of misery here. But there is a very clear sense that people want their story to be told, and they know from everyone I've spoken to party leaders in the parliament and to ordinary Ukrainians on the streets, they all come out with the same message, which is, we are a big country in terms of landmass, but we're a small people. I mean, it's only 2/3 of the UK's population. We're holding on and holding off and pushing back the entire Russian army on our own, but we need the materials to do it. And the discussion is always, we need our allies to support us more. We need the weapons. We need the continued support. Do not forget us. So there is a real sense that I think irrespective of what was happening in the Middle East, the fact that we're now getting close to, we're past the 18-month mark, we're getting close to the 2 years of this conflict, there can be kind of attention fatigue and attention deficit. There is a real sense that they want their story told and they want their allies to make good on the promises they've already made, because some of the weapons deliveries have been late, but also to step up and help them.
Is there disappointment, Ruth? Because at various points in our conversations about all of this, the spring offensive, which became a summer offensive, was seen as the big moment, and we're now very much heading towards winter. Is there a sense of disappointment that there wasn't a clear breakthrough success for Ukraine to show that they were now pushing Russia back and back and back and back?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of the spring offensive being a summer offensive, in part that was to do with the late delivery of what was promised. So you can't, you can't push. But actually, if you look at where the lines on the map have been and have been drawn and where they got pushed to, they did a whole lot last year to November. Yesterday, I was down in Mykolaiv and then I was in Odesa. So I was within 20 kilometers of where the line is now. All of that area and miles and miles and miles north of it were all held by Russians for a long time, and they've been pushed back. I think the worry is that it stays static where it is now, and even though they've been pushed out of the Black Sea port and the surrounds of Odessa, they still hold on to Crimea, they still hold on to some parts of the south, they still hold on to some parts of the east. But one thing that they're preparing for is, last year there was a concerted effort to hit the infrastructure here in winter, so that people couldn't get goods to market, so that they couldn't get fuel, so that they had no power. And Putin went early before it got really cold. They're having a warm snap. This is a warm October, like it was 15 degrees here a couple of days ago, on a warm November. They are worried when the infrastructure hits happen that he's going to have learned from last year and do it in the very cold, and it'll have a bigger impact, and they won't be able to repair things as quickly as they did last year. And people are bracing themselves for that. They're trying to gather firewood. They don't have any coal because the place where the coal fields are held by the Russians, and particularly the villages outside of the cities. I mean, it's still a very agrarian economy. It's subsistence in some places almost. So, there is a worry for what's coming.
It's going to be so important to tell their story as well, Ruth. I'm really glad you're doing it. Look forward to hearing your show on Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. That's Ruth Davidson, who's in Kyiv doing a special. She's with the Halo Trust, which is the demining charity. Lots of this land that they have taken back has obviously been mined, and so she'll be talking about that as well.